High Level is a full CRM and marketing platform, and I've used some of the best in the SaaS industry. And we are live from LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. It's Revening's Wednesday. Welcome to Wednesday, Revenue Party people. We've got our hot topics and our hot prizes, so let's get right into it. But before we do, I want to make sure and tell you a little bit about Cherry Assistant because I couldn't do this show without them. And I couldn't run the whole LinkedIn's live services that we're doing here at Reventing without them either. So Cherry Assistant is a VA placement company. They will take what you're working on and help you find the skill set so that someone else can do it for you. And as a leader and a business owner, it's definitely something you need to do to look to delegate. This is truly how we grow, is to find other people to do the work that we're doing so we can find other things to do. So Layla's here in the comments. She's behind the scenes. She helps make these episodes happen, and she helps with helping the episodes of our clients. And same with, we've got Oscar on our video editing team and a few others. So Cherry Assistant, you definitely want to check them out. Just scan that code right here if you're watching on video. Otherwise, if this is on podcast later, just go to cherryassistant.com and fill out their form and let them know that you heard about them through WinsDay for $250 off your first month. Other than that, check out High Level. So we do everything around High Level. High Level is a full service CRM marketing automation platform and CRM. So basically, if you scan this QR code here that you're seeing on the screen, or you go to reventing.com/high level, you'll get a 30-day free trial to check it out. It's $97 a month, which, doesn't really compete with some of those big SaaS companies that businesses are paying, 5 figures a month for. It's quite ridiculous. So $97 a month is pretty great. You can house all your contacts there. You can send marketing email from there, run all your funnels. There's AI. Check it out. There's a free trial link on the screen, and I'll tell you more about them during intermission because we also white label them. So for us, it's app.reventing.com, and all our clients get an account. I digress because we have two hot guests that I want to make sure and bring on right away. Welcome to the show. We've got Ishaan Shakunt and we've got Elizabeth McEwen, who I just saw this weekend in Georgia. So good to see you both.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining. Well, in good old-fashioned Wednesday style, let's get our 2-minute clock up. The audience would love to learn about the real you from birth to what brought you to now. And, not the stuff we can find on LinkedIn. We don't need a resume download. We just want to know about you. Liz, so good to see your face again. Can you kick us off?
Sure. So I'm Liz McEwen. I was born in South Florida and started my career actually as a music educator. Music was what helped pave the way for me to attend college. I was the first in my family to do so. And after that, I ended up finding my way into social work for a while. And then I ended up landing as a high school and college librarian. And I was a high school librarian for 12 years in the Palm Beach County public school system. Absolutely loved the students, loved the actual role, but needed for my mental and physical health to move on. And so now here I am in the corporate world. I still live in South Florida. I live with my husband, Enrique, and our 6-month-old puppy, Emmy. So if you hear barking at some point, that will be why. And just love Disney, love music, love cooking. Really, really have enjoyed my powerful friendships that I have made in person and on LinkedIn, and then some now have crossed over from LinkedIn to in person. And Jesse, just thanks for having me on the show again. I hope that I'm really, really excited to hear from Ishaan. And, it's interesting. We actually report enablement reports up to marketing. So I always love to have the crossover between marketing and enablement. And it's really good for me the more I'm immersed in marketing, because then if I can speak that language, then that means I can speak my VP's language because she's a marketer.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I love how you think of marketing as your audience, Liz. That's so powerful and strategic of you. So this is going to be a good conversation. And Ishaan is actually someone I met through it was the Drive community, which is a marketing community. And so he's out there trying to like better himself and like learn when he's like taking random calls with other, marketing entrepreneurs like me. So Ishaan, it's great to have you on the show. And like I said, yeah, I met him through Dave Gerhardt's Drive community. And we just got randomly like placed to like meet each other. So it's exciting to have you here, Ishaan. Want to share your full life story with us as well?
100%. Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Hey folks, Ishaan here. Fun facts about me. I've lived all across and moved all over India. So you can name a part of India. I've probably lived a couple of years there. Kept moving around because my dad figured out that, hey, it's switching jobs helps you progress in your career faster. Before it was cool, because he was in HR, right? That's why I was moving around, not an army brat. Since then, went to college. I think I ended up doing, again, still a lot of chaos, right? I ended up taking up about 47 different projects. I'm a CS grad, but I've done everything from opening lemonade stalls to trying to figure out charity and like just a lot of stuff. At the end of it, got lucky. I'm a very lucky person. Got lucky, got a job at this fintech company. Got the taste of, hey, how does the B2B SaaS world look like? What does marketing look like? Had an amazing team, amazing mentors there. Got a good taste of SEO there. The other fun fact is the way I learned a lot of my marketing was I would take up freelance projects, and if someone's paying me X, I would pay the entire amount to someone who knew how to actually do it and say that, hey, why don't you be my manager? So every weekend they would take an hour-long call with me, tell me what to do. The next weekend they would review my work and then ask me to tell me what to do the next week. And that's how I learned all my marketing. That was the biggest way that I progressed across the diversity of channels I could learn quickly. Since then, started an agency, grew that. It's still running. It's called Spear Growth. Have an amazing team. We do ads and SEO, B2B SaaS, and then now I run Chosenly. That's how I've learned about AI search for B2B companies. So yeah, looking forward to this discussion.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I agree with what your dad told you, that switching jobs helps you grow in your career faster. There is a lot of truth to that. So yeah, were you going to say something,
Oh, no,
Ishaan?
100%. No, yeah. I've lived and seen that life and absolutely loved it as a kid. Yeah.
Nice. Well, let's get into these hot topics because as you all can see, we have some hot guests with some really great skills. But the first one, let's get into some sales enablement topics with talking about tech, choosing the right platforms. Liz, can you kick us off and can you tell us what platforms are you talking about?
Yeah, well, this actually can cross over not only into enablement platforms, but into your MarTech, into your CRM, into your PRM if you are a channel company. There's always tools, no matter what you are trying to accomplish, that you invest in. And we often see companies making very poor choices in the tools that they invest in. And those poor choices, they can have long-term effects, not only on the company itself, the final end user, like the customer, but internally on their sellers, on their partners. So since I actually run the LMS and CMS for Citrix, I've had some experience with various tools, and I've done a little bit of consulting for some other companies who were trying to pick the right tools. And I think it's really important to understand that you have to do the research. You have to talk to experts. The cheapest is not necessarily the best just because it's going to save you a dime, because it might cost you a whole lot in the long run. But even the most expensive one may be more than you need, or it may have features that don't fit exactly what your audience really should have. So it's not about giving you a magical list of the top 5 or 10 platforms. It's about helping people understand that it really is a very unique decision based on your company, your needs, the amount of support you have available. There's so many different things that can affect what kind of platform you should choose. So that's a little bit about talking about platforms. I don't know, in the MarTech world, it's the same, right? I don't know as much about MarTech platforms, but I know there's a lot out there. And I would absolutely give the exact same advice to make sure you're picking the right thing for your unique situation.
100%. So I'll let you take that one, Ishaan, in terms of like marketing platforms. How do you like advise companies that are looking to switch marketing platforms?
So usually my experience lies more on the SEO side, ad side. So inbound marketing is where I've been looking at very often. I the way at least we pick platforms whenever we have to is we start with essentially nothing. We don't try and sort of build out the entire stack from the get-go. And then we like to face the pain that a platform solves, and then we add them uh, in order, right? For example, let's say if we're running ads and we need to say increase conversion rates, right? So for there, we would first face a bad conversion rate for a while or for a week or so, and know that okay, now this is truly a problem that's needed for this particular scenario, and then say okay, now let's bring in a de-anonymization tool, an A/B testing, whatever is needed. Let's bring it in later to then say okay, this was needed in this case. A lot of people on the in the other way to do it is you just like say, hey, this is the stack I know that works every single time. The moment I start, I just bring in everything. That in my experience has just brought, you build the stack to solve a pain, and then the same problems don't exist across every time you do something. So yeah, I just like going slow, adding tools in order. That's just like how I've done it.
Yeah, you
Totally.
said something really, really important. You talked about solving a certain pain, right? So that should be the first step when you're looking to add any platform or tool, is figuring out what are the most important things for you to solve. Because what you're looking at, the platform you're looking at, it may do 10 really amazing things. But if it doesn't do 2 out of the really 3 important ones that you need, then it's not going to be a win for you. So for example, if I was purchasing a new platform right now for LMS, because I feel so strongly that good sales enablement provides the right training at the right time and in the right way, I would be looking for something that can work with my CRM. So for, maybe my Salesforce, right? And then be able to push certain tips out during the sales cycle to my sellers that would then lead them into an enablement short training. So maybe, hey, it looks like you are doing A, B, and C. Here's a 5-minute training on blank. And it meets them right where they are. It stops them from having to do a bunch of searching. It stops them from having to go out of where they're working on their sale to open up another tab. It's just a great way to help meet sellers where they are and get them enabled in ways that are vital to their business. Because good enablement is only going to work if the sellers and partners think it is driving their business and if it really is driving their business. So that's just an example of one pain point, one thing that I would personally look for in an LMS if I was purchasing a new one. but everybody is going to have a list like that. Like that's the first thing you should do, whether you're purchasing MarTech, a CRM, a PRM, LMS, a partner portal, whatever you're doing, you need to decide what your priorities are and what are the pain points you want to solve.
Yeah, that's so important. Otherwise, you just start shopping and then you're like, oh, that I like that bell and whistle. Ooh, I need this, I need that. But like actually having a goal and going out and looking for it, especially these days. I mean, I feel like probably more of us need to be cutting tech than shopping for new tech because, it just everything is so nimble and we have AI these days and tools should be talking to each other. But I'm just curious, Liz, what's your take on sort of consolidating your siloed platforms and getting them to talk to each other and having fewer of them?
Well, I think you're right on target. Most companies want you to consolidate your platforms, to find something that has multiple uses or that can meet multiple needs. That absolutely can work, but I do caution that not everything is always as it seems. You need to do a whole lot of homework on the back end to make sure that things work together. So, for example, there are certain LMSs that if you want that LMS, you can only use that LMS if you also use that same company for your HRIS. Well, if that's not your HRIS, then you're going to have a problem. So remember, sellers, many sellers are extremely honest. All the ones I work with are amazing, but vendors of a vendor and vendors are going to vend, and they're not going to walk in and tell you immediately the list of things that don't work, right? They're not going to be like, oh, here are the CRMs that don't work with us, or here is, our worst issue. So you got to do your own research. But in this period of time where people are trying to save money, consolidating tools is a really big trend. And then you need to think about AI, and this could be a whole show on its own. But every single platform out there now says AI enabled, AI powered. Just because it has, an AI tool in the back that can give you the exact same answers that ChatGPT can on your cell phone doesn't mean it has the type of AI power that you need. And then you need to start thinking about, if you have 5 different platforms that all have their own AI agent, is that really going to help you? Or would it be better to have some type of consolidated large language model for your company or, for your sellers? So that's a whole lot of work. And I would say that should be on the top of anybody's list when they're looking at platforms, is to find out exactly what does this company mean by being AI powered.
It's a good point because everyone's AI powered these days, and like, what do they mean by AI powered? Thank you for going through all of that, Liz. I know there's people out there who are looking at buying software, whatever it is, whether it's an LMS, CRM, like you said, MarTech, or anything else. And sometimes we just need to do a little internal audit of all the tools we currently have to see maybe there's something that can already do this, or maybe we should take into consideration what we're actually doing and we'll find a all-in-one solution. But I digress because we have another hot topic to get to. We're going to switch gears now and talk a little bit about SEO for LLM search, and specifically GEO, AEO, and AI SEO. Can you explain all that and kick us off, Ishaan?
Oh yeah, I'll tell you why the topic just sounds so weird, right? It's because people haven't agreed on what to call it, right? There's a camp for that calls it SEO for LLMs. There's a camp that calls them all the different acronyms I have said. That's a entire conversation. Um, what you're thinking about there is, and I only understand SEO for LLMs, and I'll keep calling it that for the rest of the conversation, for B2B companies. And the reason why that's become very important is because a lot of buying decisions are happening through ChatGPT nowadays. For example, in my own agency, we have seen things like we closed a deal because someone found us through ChatGPT deep research. And the most amazing thing that I heard them say was, "Hey, ChatGPT deep research recommended you guys, so you guys must be good." I have never heard anyone say that statement or make that statement, and without a human name there. Like ChatGPT deep research for the first time ever took the place of Liz or a friend that said, "Hey, you should go speak with Ishaan." So that was very powerful. So people are trusting LLMs a lot more. It feels like if they answer something, it's a lot more well researched. You're seeing SEO traffic drop. You're seeing most companies I work with are already seeing conversions from LLMs. So now it's just like, hey, how do we scale this thing? It's already increasing. I don't know what to do. And that's where this entire topic comes from, that, hey, what should you do? Is it same as SEO? Is it different? Like that's I'm lucky enough to have data across 25 companies on what works, what doesn't. So yeah, maybe we can share a few things there.
100%. Yeah, no, that's so interesting. And it's funny that it's GEO, AEO, and AI SEO. So yeah, is there an official name
No,
yet?
it's all the same thing. People just haven't agreed on what to call it. So it's just like, hey, we don't know what to name this new channel. It's too
I
new.
feel like I hear GEO more often.
Yeah, that's the San Fran.
You said that's
uh,
the San Fran
yeah,
version?
that's the San Fran Tech Bros chosen term. So that's how that got popular. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's why I'm hearing all of it. Layla's asking, what are the key ranking factors or relevance signals in LLM powered search environments? Good question, Layla.
Love it. So I'll break the problem down, right? So for B2B companies, there's the way to think about AI search is there's three problems to solve. The first one is, what do you even track? Because with SEO, you had a list of keywords that, hey, this is what I want to go. This is the rankings were static. You could think about things. There were different parameters, as you say. But then with ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Google's AI mode, all of that, it's just there isn't a set thing to track because everyone types differently. You could type long paragraphs, there could be a chat, it could pull in context from your search history. So first of all, if you cannot have a list of things to track, that's problem statement one. Like, what do you even track? So in this case, you have to think of it as a web of topics, and you're looking at every like a breadth of prompts so that you can cover most topics. That's problem number one. Problem number two is, do LLMs even um, did LLMs even find you when they were doing a search or when they were making recommendations? For example, let's say if you search for, hey, the best uh, ad agency, the best HRMS software, right? HRIS software. So when you are doing that search, it pulls information from those links or sources that you can see in the interface itself. So either you can create content to show up in the interface, or you can go reach out to the URLs that are currently information is being pulled up from and say, hey guys, can you add me to it? And finally, the third problem to solve is that, hey, now once it has information about you and your competitors, do LLMs recommend you over your competitors or not? Because unlike, again, as traditional SEO, this is not a popularity contest. LLMs actually take decisions based on, hey, let's say if I either the user has typed in that, hey, I'm looking for something like an HRIS that has these particular features, that has particular integrations. I'm based in Europe, so it must have GDPR compliance. If they've typed that in, or if the platform, or if the, let's say, ChatGPT believes that a good HRIS must have great reviews, good support, if those things are its belief, then it's also going to evaluate that, hey, do I have proof that these things exist? That you need to fix that as the third problem. So hey, it almost bleeds into positioning. So yeah, that's like how to think about the topic. We can go deeper if we need to. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could, but I think that's
Yeah.
it's so interesting. Liz, I'm curious from your perspective, when you're searching online these days, are you using AI?
Yes and no. So, as a former librarian, I recognize that AI is a very good tool, but it is also sometimes a flawed tool. So, if I find information from ChatGPT or something similar, Perplexity, whatever, I strive to make sure that that information is valid by maybe going to the company's website, by maybe going to an analyst. So for example, in the channel, one of my very favorite analysts is Jay McBain. If you don't follow Jay, you should. And I like to see what his data says about something before I make certain decisions. So there's going to be analysts and dependable information that you can get from sources like Gartner, from Forrester. I recommend not forgetting about those resources, right? But also ChatGPT can be great to get you started. It can help you figure out what direction to look in. And I guess my question for Ishaan would be, how do you make sure, like, if you're in the Gartner quadrant, your company, that's a huge deal, right? How do you make sure that recognition like that shows up when people are searching for you? Is it automatic? Is there something you have to do?
So I think the great question. The thing is like, hey, where should it show up? Right. That's why what you need to understand. So there are 4 kinds of searches where a company even gets recommended, and that's the key. If there's any search that's like the top or middle of the funnel, where people are just thinking of, hey, how do I think of build an HR program, for example, uh, it doesn't recommend a company there. It recommends a company either when it's saying, hey, recommend a software like this, and then your quadrant or any other things that you have show up. Do they get highlighted in your introduction? The second thing could be that, hey, I need to really, let's say, taking the sales enablement example, that hey, I need to onboard my salespeople faster. Is there any tool? Is there any company that can help me with that? That's when a company can get recommended. The third place that it can get recommended is like when I'm comparing between 2 companies, that hey, should I go with company A, company B, tool A, tool B? And the fourth place, a company even can get recommended by ChatGPT, Perplexity in that search is when you do something along, when someone says, hey, does this tool have, when you're asking about a company or a tool. So in those cases, if you want the magic quadrant thing to get highlighted everywhere, all you need to do is make sure in your intros across platforms, across your own website, across other websites, how other people talk about you, across how you've made your profiles on things like review sections, just make sure it's highlighted there too. So that's part of your, if you think of wherever you've written about yourself and there's a 3-line summary, make sure it's consistent across all of these if you want that to get highlighted. Does that answer your question? It
Yes,
just
that was
needs to
great.
be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So good. Thank you so much. Well, we have 2 more really hot topics we're going to be getting to. I can't wait to hear from Liz from education to corporate and transitioning. And then also the future of content marketing from Ishaan. And we're going to be getting to those topics right after this brief message.
This is Mike, also known as Clean with Mike on Twitter. Mike hired a virtual assistant from Cherry Assistant about 2 years ago. Now he has a $50K per month business fully managed by a remote operator in South Africa. His VA from South Africa does the following: closing inbound leads on the phone, Yelp and Google and Facebook, manages his CRM and Go High Level, deals with rescheduling, cancellations, any issues, hires and manages the cleaners, and sends them daily reports and updates. Mike has a fully cash flowing business managed by a remote operator for only $8 an hour. You can also hire a US equivalent worker in the Philippines, South Africa, Latin America for a fraction of the cost with Cherry Assistant. Be like Mike and grow your business with offshore staff.
So if you're listening on podcast, then right now on the screen, we're showing a menu of services, including but not limited to lead generation, CRM management, prospecting assistance, sales presentation preparation, data entry and cleanup, customer support, and project management assistance. So if you would like to work with Cherry Assistant, just scan that code you're seeing or go to cherryassistant.com. Let them know that you heard about them through WinsDay for $250 off your first month. Other than that, check out High Level. So I told you that I was going to talk a little bit about how we white label it. So High Level is a CRM and marketing automation platform. And so what we've done is we white labeled it, meaning we've slapped our logo on it. We took the high level logo off, so it looks like our software. And then our clients get their own account. This is great for us as a marketing agency because then we have a CRM to make sure we can show them the leads we are giving them. So leads in CRM, yes, that's what we want to show. But yeah, if you are looking for a really great marketing automation platform, CRM, then check out High Level. Here's a 30-day free trial. Otherwise, if you are listening on podcast, just go to reviting.com/high-level. Other than that, let's get into our third hot topic, from education to corporate. So I mentioned earlier, I transitioned from politics to government to B2B SaaS and have pretty much been here ever since. And so I want to hear from you, Liz. I've heard your story, but maybe I'll hear something new about it tonight. But the rest of the audience, and maybe there's someone listening who's in education and might hear this later on, like they're looking to be inspired to take that step to leave being a teacher, being a librarian, or whatever it is they do in education to the corporate world. What can they learn from you?
Well, I think it's really important for educators to remember how versatile they are. That has been probably my biggest strength that I have been able to bring with me into the corporate world. Educators have to be flexible. Educators have to do 10 things at once all the time. You know, it's when you're running, for example, I was running a high school library program. I didn't have an events person for my author visits and a marketing person to handle my social media accounts and a personal assistant to handle it. I didn't have a video editor. I had to do all my own video editing. And then of course I was also doing lesson plans and collaborating with teachers. So you have your hands in so many pots. And yes, it can be a lot, but I have found that is really, really great once you get into the corporate world, because you have a plethora of skills that are transitional skills, and you're going to be valued because you're not in a silo. You're not, my name is Joe and I edit videos. Okay, great. Thanks, Joe. But if your company is going to start laying people off, what if they decide that they're going to use a third-party vendor for all of their video editing? Then what happens to Joe? So as teachers, especially I feel, librarians, we have so many skills that we can bring to the corporate table. And so it's important to highlight those. It's important to say yes when somebody's like, hey, we really need to do A, B, and C. I got it. I gotcha. And figure it out and do it. And then I would also say for anybody who wants to transition, you need to start networking now. You need to get your LinkedIn into shape. You need to start getting some certifications that are in line with the type of role you want. A project management certification is always a great place to start. You need to, maybe start joining some professional organizations, maybe attend a conference or an event. It's so true what they say about who you know is everything. And right now, there are so many people that are looking for work. And if you want somebody to hire you who maybe has 10 or 15 years of teaching experience instead of somebody who has 10 or 15 years of corporate experience, chances are they're going to only do that if they meet you or they hear about you or somebody recommends them to you or your LinkedIn is fire. So there's really, really important things that you can start doing now, even if you're not looking to transition for a few years.
100%. Ishaan, I'm curious. I know you said that you had a father who worked in HR. What's your take on everything Liz just shared? Oh, no, you're on mute.
I don't have very strong thoughts on how to go about all of this. In both across the two companies, what's worked for us is having just a very aggressive culture of learning. And I think that's what's carried us throughout, right? Like just I have never I have never been able to make an enablement platform work for or program work for ourselves. It's always been something along the lines of that, hey, can we just hire people who just want to learn from the get-go? and then giving them the tools, and then they learn on their own, right? And they never follow the program that we create. They figure out their own ways to learn. So we almost have to meet them where they are. But yeah, so I think my companies are sub 30 people companies. So it works for us to have a lot of hand holding and just letting people do what they want and just hiring people who want to learn from the get go. That's been my entire approach. So yeah, I would just learn from Liz.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for sharing all of that, Liz. And I guess for anyone who might be in education right now and just happening to scroll LinkedIn at some point, maybe tomorrow, seeing this, like, what's one piece of actionable advice you would give them? Like, go to a particular event, or like, what should they do?
I think, like I said earlier, the first thing they should do is start transitioning their LinkedIn a little bit. So it doesn't have to be a really drastic change. I mean, it's not like you're trying to tell your principal that you're looking for another job, but start following people that are at the companies or in the roles that you would be interested in. That way you can start hearing their viewpoints. You can start speaking their language. You can see what webinars or events they're attending and maybe jump in on some of those. There's a lot of things that cost money, but there are a lot of things that are 100% free. So look for those opportunities. In my first year in corporate, I just sucked everything up that I could. I spent so much time reading and learning and getting advice from people that I met both in LinkedIn and in person. And I think that was absolutely the right thing to do. I don't regret that one bit. Even though I'm not even in the same kind of role I was when I started 4 years ago, I believe getting to be a part of that community has really, really helped me to move forward. And, you know, we all need community, right? So you have to start building that community in your new field, because you're no longer going to be working with teachers possibly. So just start making those slight changes and looking for those opportunities for professional development. And that networking piece is huge, so that you can look for opportunities and knock on somebody's door, you know, via a DM in LinkedIn and say, hey, I know we don't know each other very well, but remember when we talked about A, B, and C? I see a role at your company that I would really love. Do you think you could help me connect with the right person? And I know it's hard to do that, but the truth is the worst thing that can happen is they say no, and you're no worse off than you were before the conversation.
Yeah, that's so good. Such great advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's like, if you don't advocate for yourself, no one else will. So you might as well just take that leap and just do it, right? And just take action. And we all like to pretend, we're all so busy, but it comes down to prioritizing. So if you prioritize your actions, then you can grow. But I don't know, before we transition into our final topic, which is the future of content marketing, Ishaan, anything else you might wrap up on this topic as well, with education or from any industry into corporate? You're on mute again. It's okay. I do it all the time.
100%. So the same thing. That's what I've seen work the best has always been. So there's a book called Drive that works really well. So whenever we hire a manager and that needs to sort of motivate someone to, again, I'm talking more from a perspective of not getting into the field, but figuring out that, hey, how do you, if we hire a manager, how do they create a program and how do you create this? The biggest problem is going to be people like that I have faced, at least in my programs, is like people adopting the program. And the book Drive is my favorite book on management and also just motivating people to do these things. That I've seen work best, just by far. So just like, how do you get people to become someone who learns, and then sort of transition to, okay, now here's the learning program for you. I think that's been the approach that's worked much better for me than anything else. But yeah, Liz has a lot more experience on this topic.
So good. Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I see Lauren commenting. She said Liz and her first met on LinkedIn, and now you guys are in real life besties. So powerful. And how did that?
We're networking buddies, right? Like we go to events together because we live near each other. And, we're both looking for a different ICP, but that person could still be at that event.
Mhm.
And if not, maybe we just meet somebody else. Like I can't remember exactly how, but I met you, I think, through my connection with Lauren. I already knew Brandy through Lauren, but you and Brandy also know each other. And now you and Brandy and I have went to a retreat 2 years in a row in person together.
Mhm.
That's just so powerful to me. Like
Mhm.
it went from friending somebody whose content I liked, getting in their DMs, meeting them for lunch, becoming friends. And from that, if Lauren and I hadn't made that connection, I don't know if you and I would have made that connection.
Right.
Think of all the connections that, we've gotten to make by knowing each other.
Totally.
So I think that is the power of LinkedIn and the power of networking at work.
Yes, I love that. And the power of being seen, right? Like it's scary sometimes to change your LinkedIn up, get a new cover image, start posting, letting yourself be seen. We talked about this a lot at the retreat as well. But it's powerful, as we're going to be talking about here a little bit with the future of content marketing. So, I mean, I've changed my life with content marketing and posting on LinkedIn and creating content like here on WinsDay, but also doing it for other businesses. So, I'm really excited to hear from you on this, Ishaan. What do you think is the future of content marketing?
I remember to unmute myself this time. I think this question is not. I'll answer this question from a perspective of content marketers thinking about this, because they're the ones that are facing a lot of heat from, again, ChatGPT perplexity, which is great for my business, but it's been really it's been really demotivating for a lot of uh, like people who write content, either blogs or link posts and stuff, where people just saying that, hey, I'll just create it through ChatGPT. And my team faced a lot of issue early on because our clients would just take whatever they would write and put it straight into ChatGPT, take the first feedback it gave without reading through it, without understanding it, and sending it back, which just makes their work not that fun. It's just really hard. So what the way content marketers have set up and upskilled themselves, the skills they've built, is not something that I think, even if it's working out now, I don't think it's going to continue working out in the future, right? So I have some thoughts on how I think there are three paths that content marketers can take for careers. These are my personal thoughts based on, again, what I'm seeing in the industry, both from a business perspective, marketing perspective, and also from uh, because I have a little bit more data around AI search, what that could look like. So I can share some thoughts on that in a sec.
Yeah, share it with us. Are you going to share your screen?
No, I'll just like maybe share the three top. So in total, I think there's only three paths a content marketer can take. Either I don't think you can remain a blog writer anymore, right?
That's
And
true.
this is like, because a lot of blog writing was what you read a bunch of content, you summarized it and then reformatted it and then you published it. That's literally what ChatGPT does, Perplexity does. You cannot beat
Yeah.
them at that's not happening, right?
So
You can talk about, hey, like, so stuff like that, hey, it's not good, it's not human, dude. Like, you can prompt better, right? And it works. It creates good content today. That's what we are seeing. And it works, right? So you cannot continue doing that. The three paths are: either you become a full subject matter expert, and what I mean by that is you don't focus as much on writing. But writers have the skill that they've been for years, going into an industry, understanding it really quickly, becoming deep experts, and then creating content. I'm saying leave the creating content part and double down on the expert part. Really understand the audience, spend time what do they want, become the voice of the customer in the marketing team. That's one role of a subject matter expert in in a market, not a content marketing, but of the marketing team. That's something you could become. The second role is you become what, just like a full stack creator. For example, let's say if you want to create something, right, there are AI tools for video, for image, for writing, for like all mediums. There are tools. Just get very good at all of it, and it's really hard. It's not just about tools, because now you have to really learn things like, hey, like what image looks good, how should I structure the like a layout, how do I think of color theory, and you need to understand things about design which you've never thought of, and the rest. So that's like a really really hard thing to do, but that's, I think, the second path you can take, where if you're creating a content piece, you can do all of it. And yeah, that's a lot of learning, but that's what it is. And the last one is you can become a full stack content strategist. So essentially you do things like, and I'm still developing this one, but I'm still thinking that, hey, you will have to get really deep into numbers, understand why should we create something. Like for example, for LinkedIn ads, if you're creating an offer that works, you'll have to understand the metrics behind the previous offers, what has worked, what kind of images, what resonates with the audience. Take that and then sort of figure out that, hey, what should you really do now, like, hey, what content needs to be created, and then give it off to either an AI enabled team, AI or humans, whatever, but you are the one who helps decide across channels what should be created. Because, not going too deep into this, but there's going to be, companies will probably start creating fewer pieces of content, not more, in the future. But yeah, that's a longer conversation. Yeah, that's my 3 parts.
3 parts, and I couldn't agree with you more, especially on the part about you can't be a blog writer. Like, that's just not going to exist. I mean, for example, we'll take the transcript from this conversation, feed it to AI, and boom, we'll have blogs for days. Yeah, it's just, you can't do it anymore. What's your impression of everything he just shared, Liz?
Well, I think when we talk about the future of content marketing, I think it's really easy to focus on all of the great AI tools, design tools. I mean, we can create an avatar and have them create content for us. I mean, there's so much we can do and we'll be able to do shortly, but don't lose the thread. People sell to people. So there needs to be, at some level, a level of authenticity, a level of people first mentality, always looking at things from the end user or customer's point of view, and not depending too much on all of these wonderful tools. This kind of brings us full circle because we started talking about tools. And yeah, tools are wonderful, but it is people who make the difference. It is people, relationships, and that has always been true in the sales world, and that is always going to be true no matter what technology is created that makes our lives easier. So that's what I think about when I think about the future of marketing, is don't lose that personal connection.
Yeah, the personal connection. I love that, because we're all human, right? People connect with people, not brands. So good. I love this. And I'd love to hear from anyone in the comments. I know we've got Unicorn CEO here and Lauren. What do you all think of the future of content marketing? If we were going to look more like near term and just look at LinkedIn for a second, like, what do you both think in the next few months is going to be performing well on LinkedIn? Ishaan, I'll take that to you.
Perfect. Yeah. So for me, I think there's 3 types of, we discussed this briefly, Jesse, the last time we spoke. There's 3 kinds of things that I think content does. One is that it gets people to follow you. Second, that's one type of content. LinkedIn falls in that. The second type of content is stuff that when people are in market looking for a solution, they find the solution, the shortlist solutions. That's the second thing content does. And the third thing, content positioning, I'm using it a little bit broadly, but the third thing content can do is help you pick the right company. So the first part that, Jesse, you're amazing at, that part I think is the broadest. Anything can work there, and you always need to stand out. So I'm sure. So I don't think, hey, this works on LinkedIn is a good answer, just because I've seen people really make it work with personality. People have made it work with just sharing a lot of amazing content, and that's it. That's all they do. So someone else could just do memes and have fun on LinkedIn. That works. So you could, I think, for the first layer, that what Jesse you enable is just it's a broad variety of things that could work. And so if I were anyone looking at this, I would try and figure out, hey, what is my element, what is unique about me, and how can I absolutely amplify that to the max. And it's not easy. I've been creating content on LinkedIn for I have no idea how long, maybe 7 years or so, and I still haven't been able to got to a point where I know how to amplify exactly what we do. So yeah, that's like a non-answer, but I think that's the way to go. It's not that, hey, this would work well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm curious to hear your opinion, Liz. What do you think in the next few months is going to be performing well on LinkedIn?
It's kind of hard because it seems like things are always changing. And the thing that is super hot, everybody's was saying video, do video on LinkedIn. But now I'm hearing a lot of people saying that's not the best thing to do on LinkedIn right now. So I think being open to changing gears really quickly is going to be important for any strategy, whether you're talking LinkedIn or any other platform. As the world changes and as the audience changes, you have to change with it. But what's interesting is there's some things that people seem to come back to over and over again. Like it seems like the carousels on LinkedIn are still really popular. It seems like the lists on LinkedIn are still really popular. And that personal storytelling and thought leadership, those type of posts tend to really pull people in. So, if you're one of those people that's like, okay, I'm on LinkedIn, so I'm only going to talk about business on LinkedIn, I think there's a little room for flexibility. I'm not asking I'm not asking you to reshare what you talked to your therapist about last week, but I do think that there's some room for having some overall, this is who I am, this is my world. These are maybe some struggles, that you can relate to. And this is how I've overcome them, whether it be in the workplace or elsewhere. I think that kind of content is always going to be engaging for people.
Yeah, nice. And 100%. And I agree with you. And I'm glad you mentioned the lists and the carousels because I see those returning as well. So there's all different types of approaches. I guess at the end of the day, if you are making your audience feel seen, it may not matter too as much on the medium, as long as like your message is getting across. But there's a lot to unpack there, but we got to get to the guru of the week. Ooh. Okay, so in good old-fashioned Wednesday style, I'm going to pull myself out of the screen. If y'all could tell us why we should go follow these people.
Okay, it looks like I'm first. So my guru of the week is Christine Lavopa. And Christine is a health and fitness strategist. She is also a Navy wife. She's a mom. She's a phenomenal human. And I had the pleasure of meeting her through Jesse at our retreat over this past week. And she is really something special. So in the health and fitness world, I think that there is definitely a stereotype that you have about people in those types of roles. And she is all the good things. She definitely has the expertise and knows her stuff, but she's also not what you'd expect. And I just think she brings a really fresh and comforting and quality voice to this topic on LinkedIn and on Instagram. And I'm just happy to have somebody to follow that I can take little snippets of what they talk about and really internalize them to help improve my own health and wellness, because type A personality women, we tend to put our health last. You know, we're like driving, taking care of everybody else, taking care of the business. But the truth is, and I'm learning this as I get older, if your body can't keep up with all of those things you're doing, it's gonna be very tough. So you really do need to start focusing on your health and wellness as much as possible. And Christine is a great inspiration, and I recommend that you follow her and hear all the wonderful things that she can share with you.
Awesome. Maybe I'll go next with Chris, right? So Chris is, I've been running ads for a long time, right? Me personally, I've been running ads for a lot of companies, a lot of time. And then Chris came in recently, and then he showed me what good looks like. And I was like, damn. So this was basically a person who's in the trenches, is strategic, can speak well, can express their thoughts well. So if you are looking to understand how ads works, and you want to follow one person who has all of that, that's the kind of person I would want to know, that hey, who's in the trenches, who's doing the work, and anything that they share comes from with a lot of context, and they're able to communicate it well. It's really, really hard to find that kind of a person, and Chris is definitely that. So that's why I recommended him. He doesn't post a lot as of now, but when he does, it's always just amazing. It's just fire content. So yeah, like maybe if a few more people just start engaging with his stuff, we can sort of see a lot of more content out of him, and I would love to see that. So yeah, that's why I recommend Chris.
So cool. Awesome. Thank you both for sharing. I'll have to check out Chris. I haven't heard of him, but I definitely have heard of Christine. So yes, she is amazing. And thank you both for sharing some really great gurus for everyone to go follow. So go check them out. Get some fresh content on your feed. And in the meantime, we want to wrap up by hearing a little bit more about you both. So could you tell us a little bit more, and in particular, who you serve, how you serve them, and if they could be served by you, how do they reach out to you? Start again with you, Liz.
So I help partners and sellers drive their business. I do it through enablement and connections, and I really, really love getting to know people. So you can reach me on LinkedIn. I've also been working with a few companies doing a little bit of consulting, just letting them know what I see and sharing my expertise with them in both formal and informal settings. So that's been really, really fun. And that's been kind of new for me. But yeah, you can reach me on LinkedIn. The DMs do get a little crazy, but I do try to keep up with them.
Just no pitch slaps, right?
Yeah, no thanks. Honestly, my goal is to have sellers not waste their time. So don't waste your time, because I don't make those decisions at my company.
Yes, love that. And how about you, Ishaan? Where can people find you? And if they could be served by you, what exactly is it that you do?
Yeah, so if you are a B2B company and you're either already seeing conversions come in from ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, which you can see in your Google Analytics, CRM, all of those things, or maybe your salespeople are telling you, or you know that this is the future, and it is, and you really want to do something there, I run a software company called Chosenly that helps you figure out, how do I scale this? I am pretty sure it's the best software in the world for B2B companies, not for anyone else. If you're a B2B company, that's who we serve. That's what we've been able to do, and we have a lot of proof that it works. The best way to reach out to me is either you find me on LinkedIn, which is Ishaan, ISHAAN SHAKUNT, or you can just email me, right? So just Ishaan at chosenly, CHOSENLY.com. So yeah, either works. Would love to, and even if you have a question, just love to answer those. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. This has been an excellent episode. I always love hearing from you, Liz. And, I especially liked the part about transitioning from education to corporate. Maybe it's because I had my own transition as well, but I think people could take a lot away from that. And then, oh my gosh, the future of content marketing, Ishaan, I can't get enough of that. And the whole SEO thing, I mean, we're going to be talking about that for the next decade, I feel like, to come. It's like it's always changing, and like I don't know even know what to call it. But next week we have another really great episode lined up. So if you can join us, we'll be here same time, same place. We've got Dane Seville and Jimmy Newsom, and it's going to be another great episode. And it's also going to be November 5th, which is my birthday. So obviously you should come hang out on Wednesday. But until then, I hope you all have a really great weekend. Thanks again, Liz and Ishaan.
Thank you. And
Yeah,
you've
have a
been
great
maybe
night.
one of the best hosts I've ever seen. The energy you bring in, the structure, it's really good. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that means the world. Thank you so much. Aw. All right. Well, on that note, thanks everyone.
All right, back to cabin life. Bye.
Tell Enrique I said thank you for sharing you.
I will.
Bye.